Hi everyone, I'm starting off with my very first makeup tutorial on this channel. I love cranberry shades for the holidays, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Alright, let's get started. First I'm pulling my hair back with bobby pins so that it doesn't get in my way throughout this tutorial. And then I'm moving straight into my eyeshadow primers. I actually need to wear 2 eyeshadow primers or I end up with creasing throughout the day. So first I'm starting off with my Milani eyeshadow primer, waiting for it to dry, and then following it up with my Too Faced Shadow Insurance. Moving on to eyeshadows, I'm dipping into the enhanced shade from the Charlotte Tilbury Vintage Vamp Quad with my domed shadow brush by Real Techniques. Since my eyelids are quite hooded, I take this quite far up above the crease. I keep blending until I've got the right amount of depth for the area. I'm now switching to my lid color, so I'm dipping into the prime shade with the MAC 239 brush and packing it all over my eyelid. Because it's quite a pale shimmery shade, I need to keep applying several coats of it to make sure I've got the intensity that I want. And finally, with a MAC 217, I'm dipping into the smoke shade. It's only a little bit darker than the enhanced shade, but it is helping to define my outer corner a little bit more. I mostly use packing and swirling motions to make sure that I'm blending it into my crease color as well as to the lid. And because I always experience fallout no matter what shadows I'm using, I'm taking a cotton pad and dipping it in some Bioderma and then just using it to clean up my under eye and sharpen the outer corner a little bit more. I dipped back into the prime shade from the Vintage Vamp Quad and I'm using it to highlight my brow bone. Moving on to eyeliner. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit intimidated to be doing winged liner on camera for the first time ever. I'm taking my trusty Kat Von D tattoo liner in Trooper and defining my eye by creating a nice sharp line and then winging it out. Now, the way I do my wings is I lift my eyebrow and then choose the point that I want to go to and then draw backwards in towards my eye. I find it easier for me to pinpoint where exactly I want to place the wing, and then I just fill in the gaps as necessary. Moving on to my tight line, I'm sure this is uncomfortable to watch, but I'm using the Marc Jacobs Highliner Gel Crayon in Blacquer. This just helps fill in the gaps between my blonde lashes and my winged liner. Moving on to my absolute favorite mascara, I'm using the Makeup Forever Smoky Stretch. I discovered it earlier this year and I've just been absolutely in love with it ever since. You'll notice I'm not curling my lashes though. I am planning on putting false lashes on right now. So these are the Femme Fatale mink lashes and these are the She Devils. And I'm using some House of Lashes lash glue because I find that sticks the best to my lid. I'm using a pair of tweezers to place them into the center of my lid and then clasping onto the corners to place the ends exactly where I want them. And of course, there's always one eyelash that wants to go on better than the other one, isn't there? Moving on to my face, I'm taking the Makeup Forever Step 1 Hydrating Primer and applying it all over my face. I've switched to a hydrating primer since it is starting to get a little bit colder here in Canada, and this just helps keep my skin moisturized underneath my foundation. And my foundation of choice for today's video is the IT Cosmetics CC Cream in Fair. I'm applying it to my face with a damp Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. And not gonna lie, I was a little bit shocked at just how pale this actually looked on my skin, but it does blend out and adding some bronzer later will definitely help the color matching. My features can tend to look quite flat with only foundation on my face, so I always reach for some kind of bronzer. For today, I'm going for the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow, and I'm using the Sculpt shade to define my temples, my upper cheekbone, and then my jawline. If I do run into any kind of extreme bronzer getting on my face, I'll go back in with my Real Techniques complexion sponge and just blend out the edges to make sure that I've got a smoother transition. On to blush. The Clinique Cheek Pop in Cola Pop has been my absolute favorite blush this season. I reach for it probably 4 days out of a week. It's unbelievable how much I love this shade. However, go gently with it because it can come off very, very strong. Now that my blush is done, I'm reaching back into the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow palette, and I'm going for the highlight shade. I'm popping quite a bit of it onto my cheekbones because I really love that glow that it provides. Now that my base is done, I go back to the eyes to finish them up. I'm reaching into the pop shade from the Vintage Vamp quad and applying it with my finger to the inner corners of my eyes. I'm using my finger because it's not a very powdery texture, it's more like glitter, so it's more of a top coat for your eyes. And with my Makeup Forever Smoky Stretch, I am coating my bottom lashes with mascara as well. And moving on to the last step in my routine, which is not my favorite, I'm moving on to my brows with the Marcelle Nano-Brow pencil in Fair Ash Blonde. And lastly are my lips. I'm reaching for my Too Faced Melted Berry Liquefied Longwear Lipstick because I am absolutely in love with the shade and I love how it wears on my lips. It does go on my lips rather glossy, but I would say over the course of about an hour, it does dry down to more of a matte finish. This makes it way more long wearing and much more comfortable to wear for me. And here's the completed makeup look. I really love matching cranberry shadows on the eyes to cranberry lips because I feel it makes it a very cohesive look. So you can look at it as a very monochromatic look, which is very easy to replicate for most people. Thank you for watching and happy holidays.